was to be on the 16th window. For me, the most important thing is at the very beginning when he says that the order and ordering in the creation and the disposal of creatures are renewed. So he says season by season, but actually we can take it season by season, week by week, day by day. I mean, if it's happening every season, it's happening gradually. So there is this constant change and order and ordering. And it shows, he says, clearly a universal wisdom, a wisdom that encompasses all these activities. Of course, because before the interconnectivity was discussed in other windows. And since an attribute cannot be without the one it qualifies, this universal wisdom necessarily shows a wise and all-wise one. I think here the link in the reasoning is this sentence. If we see wise activity, it means there is wisdom. It means this wisdom points to, shows an all-wise one. And not only this reasoning is important, the way we go from the order and ordering with wisdom in the creation to there is wisdom, therefore this shows an all-wise one. Because what we learned is we see something, we are at awe, and then we say, oh, Allah created it. Okay, how about something that we see every day and now we lost our sense of awe? So this method of claiming, of course it's not wrong, it's correct that God created it, but like this is not what the Quran is teaching us, because otherwise then after a while a beautiful flower opens up, we are all marveling, and then if we have it there sitting there, we forget about it or we take it for granted now. The sun rises, maybe once in a while, it has a beautiful color or something, it attracts our attention, but most of the time we take it for granted. Now with this reasoning and the way the Quran is telling us, attracting our attention on so-called ordinary things. If ordinary things bring out the awe within us, puts us, if we are at awe, then what the so-called extraordinary things, that will come too. So we have to learn to reassess, to look at the world that we take for granted in a new way, and that the end of our interaction will bring us an awareness of God in a new way, so that our belief is going to increase each time we see something and stay with that awe, stay with whatever the feelings we feel, and then reason with the heart, reason with these feelings, and there is all this order and ordering everywhere. Clearly there is wisdom. This wisdom shows, it's an ayah to the all-wise one. This is the all-wise one. What I am witnessing is his wisdom. Now I am testifying, I'm making shahada, I am getting to know God in a new way, every day at each interaction. I'm getting closer. I'm not saying, oh, God created this. God is an unknown in the beginning, created this, and then I pass quickly because I take it for granted that I know God, I believe in God. Remember, Imam Nursi says, and it's something very important, to not deny the existence of God is not Iman Billah, is not belief in God. Belief in God is a conscious knowing God, experiencing, testifying his, for instance, his wisdom, and therefore his being all wise, and then saying, yes, this is indicating, showing an all wise one. Then I can say this is the creation of the all wise one. But the creation is the starting point. Now my heart is going to open up each time and it's going to be filled with Iman. And this Iman starts with knowing God with his beautiful names. Now I get closer and closer to who, knowing God, who he is. As we know God, who do you think we will love? The heart is created to love the source of the perfection and the goodness. If my heart is still attached to the beautiful things themselves, it means I am still living in the illusion that there is a horizontal relationship between me and that thing, and that thing is benefiting me. For instance, water, for instance, food, for instance, whatever, the sun. And totally unrelated, totally disconnected from that, there is a God and he's created this. But when I witness God in my interaction, then there is suddenly no horizontal relationship. My relationship between me and that thing takes me, that thing goes to God, back to me. It takes me to the all wise and then back to me. It's always through him. And the simple example that I give is my telephone is not connected to anyone else's telephone directly. It's always connected through a satellite. But if you ask, for instance, a kid who doesn't know about the satellite, they will think it's like I call, it answers. That's it. It means they are directly connected. And so that is how we are interconnected to the rest of the world. This step looks very maybe simple, but it's something that we miss all the time. And that's why we find ourselves forgetting again and again, because we have not learned to find the countenance of God, to find the beautiful names of God, to find God within the creation. We have not seen how the creation functions as ayah, as mirrors reflecting the beautiful names of God. How we have not learned how they glorify him with praise, and therefore we are not glorifying God by means of their glorifications. Our glorification is like pasting on top, and that's why it doesn't last. Immediately after, we forget everything because we didn't learn anything. We already have an acceptance that the God, which is we need to start there, that there must be God, but who is God? We need to learn who is this God. So the fact that we don't deny is necessary and it's good. It's the starting point. We cannot use it as if it is the end. Each time we have to go from the ordering, wisdom, all wise. The next one is there is adornment within the wisdom. We talked about the adornment of all the birds and the octopus and human beings and fruits and everything. The adornment within the veil of wisdom self-evidently shows beneficence, perfect beneficence. And that perfect beneficence necessarily points to a gracious, all generous creator. And then we say, oh, yeah, now we know God through in a new way, from a new aspect. We feel closer to Him. Our Iman increases. Yes, Isra.
Dr. Yemen, this is a very, very important point. And I find it very helpful because when you started talking, the first thing that came to my mind was as a title, like the power of naming, in the sense that when I say, oh, Allah made this and move on, then yes, Allah made it, but the way I say it, the way I name this makes the most difference. If I am starting from the top, as you said, as if I know Allah without witnessing, then the 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 glorification only lasts to that to the extent that I have awe, and awe comes and then it goes. At that moment, you're surprised. Oh, I never knew that this creature did this, and then it becomes knowledge, and then that's where we tend to lose because we don't have the proper steps and naming. Uh, the popular culture and science and so on, they throw in a name. They call this is natural, this is the law of nature or something. They throw in a name, and because we don't have the proper naming, we get lost in there. We say, oh, this is amazing, this butterfly does this, and then here is they throw in a name that they say, well, this is the butterfly rule or whatever, and then we are taken in with that name and move on or get lost.
True, true. However, I even if I never heard of science, I could fall into that pit.
Yes, yes, because we have other names. This is usual, this is normal,
Ah,
this is
exactly.
butterfly.
Exactly.
You, the,
Actually, science is like this because the scientists are like that.
yeah, it just has additional jargon to kind of um, eh, you know, dazzle
So
the
just that we don't think it's all because of science. No, it's all because of Ghafla.
yeah.
All because we are not willing to do the work. And that's why, no wonder, again and again, it's like a vicious circle. We find ourselves, why do I keep forgetting?
And what
Because I never remembered,
yes,
truly.
yeah,
I
exactly.
just, like I remembered in a very vague way.
Yeah, exactly. That's perfect. So we can um see this process of going through the windows or reflecting on creation, a matter of clarifying instead of seeing things behind flu vague glasses, to really zoom in and name not just in sense of putting a label, but identify, what do I see here? I see exquisite order. What does that point to? It points to universal wisdom. And what does that necessarily bring me to? An all wise one, Al Hakim. So this process,
This is needs to
clearer
be
than,
done as a contemplation. The
yeah,
heart has to acquiesce to acknowledge this process.
yes, yes. I think this is a very beautiful crystallization. We might even excerpt this as a separate video. I think this clarified a lot of things. Jazakallah khair.
Inshallah. So you can, inshallah, read and meditate and contemplate on what is being said in the 16th window. Stay in the text. What is this teaching? Don't take the awe and run away with it. No, no, no. Awe is okay, something everyone feels the awe. It's like gratitude. When we are in a happy state, we appreciate what's given, things that we like. We appreciate, we are made to appreciate. Allah is the Shakir. Now, that appreciation, that gratitude, to who or to what we give it consciously, is the difference between the grateful to God and the mindless ungrateful. If they are grateful in this world, they get, it's better than the one who complains and is totally ungrateful. But if you want it in this world and in the next here and now, because the akhirah makes a whole difference here and now, then the difference is to realize that it is from God. And it's the same with awe. When we see something, everyone is at awe. But what we do with it, from the awe, from what we observe there, from what we experience, what we feel, stay there, be patient from there to the wisdom, the adornment, the beneficence, to the beneficent, to the generous one, to the always wine, to the, we need to go through the steps. Otherwise, we will say, yes, it's God who made it. And then lots of things, we have no awe over them because we take them for granted. And so if we wait for that rare moment, how are we going to remember God and practice dhikrullah on a daily, constantly? When we learn this, we will start being at awe in everything, every step, every time we look, every time we hear something, every time we look at our food, as we are told in the Quran, فَلْيَنْظُرُ الْإِنسَانُ إِلَىٰ طَعَامِهِ, let human being look at the food he eats. Everything we will feel the awe when we go through this contemplation, through this way of reasoning with the heart and meditating and contemplating. Always we will come to a place of awe, a place of sajda, before the awesomeness, the adama, the might of the Creator that is displayed, that the creation, the wisdom, the beneficence, the order, the adornment in the creation is showing and reflecting to us. So it seems simple, it's very important. Otherwise, if you practice this, you will see that you won't forget. Everything will remind you of that. In the beginning, everything, you will practice it on everything until nothing will become, make us forget God. Nothing will be a veil. It's the opposite. Everything will be like a screen where the beautiful names of God play and are reflected.